Most people don't know what's holding them back, but you do because you listen to me, Sam, your self-care guru and journal junkie. Welcome to Journal Entries, your safe place where you can tune in weekly to get tips, tricks, and journal prompts to uncover your feelings, gain clarity, and make your move. Welcome to today's journal entry. Today is a fun one. We are going to be digging into my personal review of the most recent season of The Bachelorette. I'm not sure if you watched The Bachelorette. I was a big fan when it first came out. I think I was in high school when it first came out. And then I stopped watching for many years. And then it was, I think, last summer or so that I was like, I just need something fun and lighthearted and what is it called? I call it like a mindless thing, right? So I turned to The Bachelorette. And this last season, for those of you that don't know, there were two Bachelorettes for the first time. And one was named Gabby and one was named Rachel. And the whole time they did The Bachelorette, like all of the dates that they go on and whatnot together. And by the end, it was really interesting. One of the women, Gabby, there was still, I believe, 2 weeks to go, 3 weeks to go. And she had narrowed down all of her guys to just one, which is unheard of. If you watch The Bachelorette, now granted, I did have that huge span of time that I did not watch The Bachelorette, but typically the girl, the Bachelorette, gets to the end and at least has two guys and has to pick between them, right? And this Gabby had one person, not just at the end, but multiple weeks before the show ended. The other girl, Rachel, something similar, that same week that Gabby picked her one, she had narrowed it down to two. And then the week before the finale, which again, there's supposed to be two, she eliminated the other guy. And so by the finale, they each had picked who they wanted. And the other person, I can't remember if they knew. Yeah, they did know. So they knew that there was like no competition. But for me, it was just so like, I don't know, it shook me because that is so different from what the show used to be. And in my head, I was like, I wonder what the producers are thinking. I wonder if they like are excited because this is different, or they're pissed because this is like completely not what was supposed to happen. But over time, for some reason, apparently I kept thinking about it. And I had this realization that the whole time, besides the ending that I just told you about, the whole time these girls were getting rid of men left and right, like before the rose ceremony, just like randomly in the middle of the date, they'd be like, it's not working out. And then they would get rid of them. And I found it so empowering. And I feel like women these days, at least myself and maybe other women my age, are in a season, if you want to call it that, or just stepping into our power of knowing what we want and not settling for what we don't want when we see it. It was so easy for these two girls to get rid of people. Even if it was a good date, they knew that there was something missing, is what they would say, you know? And then by the end, same thing. They knew that there were certain qualities and they just got rid of them. And in all prior bachelorettes that I've watched, they have, even if there were some doubts with certain men, they would still keep them until the very end. And then one of them would propose and, you know, the rest is history. But it was really inspiring for me to see. And I think it was inspiring for me, for women, not like necessarily for me personally, but just knowing that like women have that power, right? And we always have. I am just recently tapping into that, but we've always had that choice, and honoring that, just getting rid of what we don't want in our life when we know that that's what we don't want, feels so good. It felt good seeing somebody else do it. And we can do that in our own lives, not just with dating. It can be with friendships. It can be with careers. It can be with anything. And that is my recap of The Bachelorette and why I loved this season. This season, I think overall, did not get good reviews because quite honestly, it was a little bit boring to watch because by the end, there was no drama. There was nobody left. So I feel like the biggest message that I took away is just that women, once you get clear on what you want, it's so easy to see what you don't want and to get rid of that and move on to what you do want. And if you are unclear on what you want in any area of life, I think that the easiest way to get clear on that is thinking about what you don't want. It's so much easier thinking about negative things than positive things. So let's just keep going with relationships because we're talking about The Bachelorette. If you know you don't want someone who's self-centered, if you don't want someone who doesn't open the door for you, right? If you don't want someone who doesn't ask questions, all right, here's a little spinoff. So I'm on dating apps and just very casually, I don't even really want to go out on a date, just kind of seeing what's out there, right? I am stunned at the number of men that don't ask questions to continue the conversation. I have had recently a full conversation with a man and I was being engaging. I feel like I was great. I was asking questions, he would answer, and he was answering in a way that he would answer my question, but give enough information where I felt like I could respond to it, right? Like I would laugh and then share one of my experiences or something. But he never once asked me what I do. And on my profile, it says self-employed, which when I see that, I'm like, oh, that's a whole can of worms. I want to know what the other person does, right? Never once asked me about that. My profile also says that I have a son, and I mentioned it in the conversation. Never mentioned him. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that I brought up that could have very easily been like, how was your day? I think that was actually it. I said, what are you up to today? And he responded and did not say, what are you up to today? So I share this because it's like, while that might be so like minimal, right? I sent that whole conversation to one of my friends and she was like, and what part like didn't you like? Right. So it wasn't like this awful conversation, but I just got really clear in that moment of like, no, I want someone that wants to know about me, that wants to ask me questions, that wants to be the one to initiate the conversation. And I only discovered that because I realized what I don't want in that relationship, in a conversation, in a partnership. So that is my little lesson, aha moment, and women empowerment for today. Know what you want, know what you don't want, and don't feel bad about going for it. That's something that I'm still learning to do every single day. It's kind of funny that I'm preaching it because I'm learning it and practicing it with you, but I have been practicing it and it feels so good to do that and to honor yourself in that way. And I just feel like the world is my oyster. Truly, it's crazy. So if you are the Bachelorette, by the way, my twin was going to nominate me to be on The Bachelorette. And I realized that I think being on The Bachelorette would be fun because you're just the one girl. But I would not want to be on The Bachelor, which is usually what you have to do in order to get on and be The Bachelorette. You have to live in a house with like, I don't know, 30 women, 20 women. That doesn't sound fun. So who knows? Maybe someday you'll see me on The Bachelorette or The Bachelor. For now, I am here at my home podcasting to you and just hoping that you are honoring your truth. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's journal entry. I love connecting with my listeners, so make sure you screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at samantha.s.says so I know you're listening. And don't forget to grab your free training and journal prompts at www.samanthapenkoff.com/podcast.